The June meeting of the Kent branch of the Ontario Genealogical Society. We're glad everybody came. I had a chance to talk to a few people and they saw the advertisement in the newspaper, so our publicity is working and it's letting people know what's going on. So thank you all for joining us. We will be recording this. We have a YouTube channel that we post our recordings on for folks who can't make it. We have a lot of members who live at a distance. Or if there's something that you missed and you want to go back and listen to it again, you can go to our YouTube channel and do that and see any previous presentations that we've had as well. So, we are the Ontario Genealogical Society. We've been preserving and promoting family history for over 50 years. There's more than 30 branches all across Ontario, just like this one. They're the largest genealogical society in Canada, and there's many perks to belonging to the OGS. Actually, right now is the best time. I shouldn't say it's the best time. It's a really good time to join. They're running what's called the partial membership. It starts June, so you can receive all the benefits that a regular full-paying membership would receive for half the price, because you're just getting it for half the year. So it's on the OGS website if anyone's interested. Last weekend was the OGS Conference. They hold one big conference a year. It was in Guelph, and they announced at the end of that conference that next year's is going to be very, very close to us. So it will be in London, Ontario. So it's very close, a great opportunity for everyone to go and to visit. So I just wanted to share that. Also, OGS has partnered with Family Tree Maker for an Ontario road tour in September. A representative from Family Tree Maker is going to be coming from Utah on his way to Ottawa the end of September, and they're trying to organize for him to stop at the branches along the way. So we don't have any dates other than it's the week of the second last week of September probably. So if you have Family Tree Maker questions, or I'm sure he will be bringing them along with him as well. So if you need to purchase them, updates, basically any questions that you have, since he works directly with the company, he'd be the guy to ask. So we'll just keep you posted on that as the information comes out of what the day would be. Also, OGS will be hosting the Heritage Tent at the Fergus Scottish Festival. We're looking for volunteers. So if you're in the area and you think you can spare a few hours, just email OGS and put it in the title, the Scottish Festival, or just stop in and say hi to us. And then in September, the International Ploughing Match will be held in Kent County. The Kent branch is going to be facilitating a heritage tent as well in the heritage tent. This is a huge event, so we are hoping to draw a big crowd and spread the word about us. And again, we are definitely going to need some volunteers to help out, because this is going to be a 4 or 5 day event, and I believe like from 9 till 5. So we'll be looking for volunteers to, come out and spread the word about family history and OGS. And I believe the Lantern branch, the Essex branch, the London branch, and the Elgin branch. So basically all our local branches that are close to us, they've all offered a little bit of assistance. So it'll be a good networking time. So then we're the Kent branch of the Ontario Genealogical Society. We mostly do Kent research. We offer mentoring and assistance if you're looking to start your family history. We have newsletters. We have regular monthly meetings like this once a month with different topics and subjects. And we have a really good resource library in the Chatham Kent Public Library on the 2nd floor. We rent a room for them, and that's where our collection is housed. So if you've never been up there and you're interested in family history, it's one place to stop and visit. We're open from Tuesday to Saturday, 1 to 5. We're also open by appointment if you can't make those hours, and if you have availability of a volunteer, we try to meet the needs of our visitors. We have a great website. That's our email in case you need to contact us. And we also are on social media. We have a very active Facebook group, and they're members and non-members, just people who are interested in family history in Kent County. So definitely, if you have a Facebook account, ask to join our group. And if you don't, Facebook is where you should be. Colleen, did you want to mention your little
Oh,
tidbit
yes.
before we go into the other activities?
So I was at conference last week, and I purchased some DNA kits, and I have 2 available for purchase. They're $79. That's everything included. You will never get that price on their website. So if you're interested, come see me. I have two for sale, $79 each.
Yeah, and that was that's a conference offer, and that's amazing. That there's no shipping or anything, so it's just yeah, we kind of were a little taken back. It's like 79, really? That's it? Great. Okay, and we also like to advertise what's going on in the community. So next Thursday, June the 14th, the Essex branch that's based out of Windsor, they're going to be doing a road trip to the Harrell Early Immigrant Research Society, aka AIRS. So if you have any ancestors in the Colchester, Amherstburg, and the Harrow, they have a fantastic collection. So I'm actually going to be going, and if anybody from the area would like to go, I think I have 2 more seats left. We're going to be carpooling, so anyone's welcome to join. We'll probably leave Chatham between 12 and 12:30. The Kent Historical Society, they are having a presentation on June 19th. They're heading out to Ridgetown to do a little tour and a church dinner. I think they do this every year as a wrap-up. So the information's there. If you think you'd like to go, you can contact Ron. So ourselves, we don't have any presentations during the summer. So July and August, we have nothing, but we're back in September with a really good topic, researching United Empire Loyalists. And we have the genealogist that is with the Bicentennial Branch coming to speak to us. We're going to host this with the Kent Historical Society and the Chatham Kent Museum. So instead of it being held here, we'll actually be at the Cultural Center. And just a little update, we did hire that summer student. His name is Josh, and he's fantastic and has been working his art. So today is the halfway point already. And we just seemed like we just hired him. So he's here for another 4 weeks. Yes, Judy?
He's 2 books away from the Groves, in case you're interested.
So for those who don't know, we have a great family history collection, and that's basically books that people have donated to us. So Janet will be donating her family history, the Harrett and Sherk family, to our collection. So, and we have one family history that a lady, the Crow collection, and it must be 40 binders?
97 binders.
97 binders. Okay, so that's what he's working towards. So thank you for doing that, Janet. We also had a fellow contact the branch, Arthur Pegg. He's working on his Mayflower Descendant certificate, I guess it would be called. And he just reached out to us wanting to know if anybody else in the branch had ever done this. And if they had any tips or tricks or anything that he should be investigating. So if you do, just contact the branch and then we can hook you up with him. So that leads us to tonight's presentation. So Janet Kelt is from the Lambton branch, Sarnia area, and she's been researching her Harrett and Sherk family history for a long time. And she offered to come in, share that presentation with us because their family's from the Dresden area, which falls within our county. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Janet to come up. We will shut down the PowerPoint presentation because Janet's going to give us a little story. Right? So please welcome Janet.
Come sit here so you can post. I got interested in genealogy and joined Lambton Branch 22 years ago. My mother had a parcel of her family tree. She talked to her mother-in-law. What was your mom and dad's name? When were they born? Where are they at? So I had a lot to start with. One of my family lines was Harrett, who married Aniva Sherk. The Voyage of the Love and Unity. I first saw an advertisement of the Sherk Family Association of North America in Alan Campbell's OGS newsletter in May of 2016. For the first time, I attended a Sherk family reunion from the 4th to the 7th of August 2016 at the Conrad Goebel University College in Waterloo, Ontario. My two-time great-grandmother, my mother Florence's father's Milton's mother, was Eva Elizabeth Sherk, born 16th of September 1856, died the 13th of March 1899, married William Franklin Harrett on June the 6th, 1883 in Bertie Township, Welland, Ontario, and moved to Homestead on the first concession of Camden Township, Kent County, Ontario, about 3 miles out of Dresden. The Sherks were Mennonites from Switzerland via Lancaster, Pennsylvania, USA in 1732. Later on, a group of them moved up into the Bertie Township, Welland, Ontario, and into Waterloo, Ontario at the time of the war in the US. When the immigrant ancestors arrived in North America, there were language barriers which led to the many spelling variants of the Swiss spelling name Sherk, S-C-H-U-R-C-H. They had an E-R-I in it, an E-R-C in it, an I-R in it, and a U-R in it, an A-R in it, 40 different variants. If you have any of these in your family, then you're likely one of the members. In US, the official respiratory is in Lancaster Mennonite Historical Society in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The Canada respiratories are in Fort Erie Historical Museum at Ridgeway, Ontario, and the Mennonite Archives of Ontario at Conrad Goebel College, University of Waterloo in Waterloo, Ontario. When this reunion group have been getting together every other year since 1982, either in Pennsylvania or in Ontario. Okay, I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. Okay, if I can read it. I can't read it. Okay. While I was looking into the information on the Sherk lines here at the LDS Family History Center, one of the volunteers kept calling it Shrek instead of Sherk. One day this volunteer said I should go as Shrek. I made a costume, and at the Saturday night banquet, I entered as Shrek. I wandered among the tables up to the mic. I introduced myself as Shrek, and I said that I had entered the GPS, and it brought me here. When everyone stopped laughing, I said, since there are at least 40 different ways to spell Sherk, could we just add another one, Shrek? And that got another round of laughing and clapping.
An ancestor.
Maybe I better bring mine in.
But on a more serious note, I want to tell you about the book I bought at the display room. Its title is The Voyage of the Love and Unity by Nancy E. Schnanes, Schanes. The story of the Mayflower has been told and retold many times, but that of the Love and Unity, and no vessel was ever more unapt named, has never been told. The immigrant ship, Love and Unity, sailed for Philadelphia on June the 24th, 1731 from Rotterdam via Falmouth, England, landing on the 2nd of December, 1731. That's 5 months voyage.
Wow.
At Martha's Vineyard after a harrowing voyage. Many of the survivors finally arrived in Philadelphia on May 15th of 1732 on the North from Boston. Herein lies the story. Towards the end of 1730, after reading letters from America, Johann Dietrich Jungmann and many others from Baden decided to take their families to the New World. Several families were from Wevelington, a village just north of Heidelberg on the Rector River. They sold all their possessions, boarded a barge to take them down the Rhine River to Rotterdam. They stopped at Worms, a place, on the Rhine to purchase 6 casks of Rhenish wine for the voyage. There was about 150 people. On the 12th of June, 1731, among the passengers, they chose 5 chiefs to sign a contract with the Captain Jacob Lobb, L-O-B-B, mariner and master of the ship, a vessel of about 100 tons, who was willing to transport them and their effects to Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. They were to pay 6 gold pistons, Spanish gold coins used in Europe at the time, at Rotterdam, and total for their passage would be 600 pistols. A third part was to be paid at the time of the coming on board, and the remaining 2/3 1 month after the ship arrived in Philadelphia. It was stipulated that the ship would have food provisions for 14 weeks. Food would be distributed as follows. Sundays and Thursdays, each person would receive rice and a pound of beef. Mondays and Wednesdays, grout and treacle. Tuesdays, peas and a ½ pound of cheese. In addition, each would receive 6 pounds of bread every week, 1 can of beer, and 1 can of water a day. The food was to be cooked according to the ship's customs. A deck of sleeping places would be provided, each place 6 foot long by 18 inches wide, with 2 areas of leisure for the group. The passengers had use of the first 2 decks for themselves from 6 in the morning until 6 at night. Shortly after the contract was signed, a gentleman informed some of the passengers through an interpreter that the captain was a notorious villain, and that 3 or 4 years before he had transported a group of Palestinians to Virginia and sold them. Some of the people did not want to go, but they had signed a contract. When they boarded the ship, they received no food, having only what they had brought with them, their own money, and what was freely given them by the local Presbyterian minister. During the 4-week stay in Falmouth, the captain failed to take on sufficient provisions for the planned journey, although he could easily have done so. On the 2nd of August, 1731, almost 7 weeks after first boarding, they set sail for Philadelphia. The ship had been at sea for about 2 weeks with good winds when Captain Lobb assured everyone that they were halfway on their journey. It then became calm, followed by a raging storm. After this, their food allotment was cut by 1/3. 3 weeks later, rations were again reduced by 1/3, and in 2 weeks, they were in extreme distress. They had now been at sea from Falmouth for over 7 weeks. Discontent rose, arose. Children were crying, but no food could be obtained from the captain. Men begged the captain for keys to the hole so they might obtain their wine from their own cask, but they found that they had been broken open and all the wine drunk. Items from the chest had also been stolen. Stolfer, called Christopher Mayer, who later died of starvation, was keeping a journal of the voyage, and when Captain Lobb discovered this, it was forcibly taken from him. How could the captain and his crew survive was a mystery until Dietrich Jugman found food placed in the longboat between the two masts. To prolong the journey, the ship sailed only during the day, the rudder being tied at night. Evidently, the captain thought many passengers had treasures and items of value, so he tried to starve them so he could confiscate their goods. By the end of October and November, there was real famine, and passengers were forced to eat dead rats, selling for 1.5 shillings. You had to buy a dead rat. Mice for 6p, water for 4p a can. Of the 150 persons taken aboard, 80 had died at sea already. And they were thrown overboard, naked, without benefit of sand to weigh them down. Many more continued to die. On the 27th of November, 1731, 17 weeks after leaving Falmouth, England, they sighted land near the coast of Martha's Vineyard. Approximately 58 survivors became rebellious and asked the captain to put them ashore so they could get provisions. Captain Lobb threatened them with a gun and they backed down. While the captain went ashore, they were detained on the boat and still more died. From letters written by the 5 chiefs on the 23rd of December, 1731, to Reverend George Michael Weiss of Philadelphia, first published by Benjamin Franklin in his Pennsylvania Gazette in early February of 1732 and reprinted in the Boston Gazette, he kept us 6 days on board in the harbor, allowing no communication between us and the people on shore, telling them that we were Turks and not Christians, and in those 6 days, 15 more people starved to death. Then we were quickly taken ashore, but without our possessions. Meanwhile, the good people of the island came with fresh food, but the crew took it. Later, 4 Indians came asking if there were any passengers the captain was willing to sell. As soon as they saw the conditions, the Indians asked permission to take the people ashore. The 45 or so survivors were taken ashore at Holmes Hole, now Vineyard Haven on Martha's Vineyard, Duke County, Massachusetts. Once on shore, Captain Lobb threatened the survivors, saying he would put them in irons when they returned on board to resume the voyage, and he would starve them unless they made a new arrangement to pay him 248 more pistols within 30 days, at which time all their goods would be delivered to them and no further claims would be made. The remainder of this tale is also recorded in this book. But in the end, the 5 chiefs sued the captains for his murder of souls who thought to starve us all from our possessions. Some of the cases they won and others they lost. Of the remaining passengers who came to Martha Vineyard half-starved, they were taken in by good people of Boston while they awaited passage, and 200 pounds was collected and distributed among them. In early April 1734, 34, no longer involved with the legal actions of Boston, had found Thomas Lloyd, master of the ship Norris, who was willing to transport them to Philadelphia. They sailed on the 12th of April, arriving in Philadelphia on 15th of May, 1732. So that took 5 months. This is the end of a chapter of just one of the many incidents of hardship and tragedy faced by our ancestors in coming to the New World looking for freedom and a better life. On page 47 of this account of the love and unity is listed a listing of my ancestor, Casper Sherk, or Casper Sherk he was called, stating that he was a passenger on the Norris, that he signed the oath of allegiance with his name, that he was a plaintiff in the libel and complaint, February 8, 1732, that presumably lost his wife and child at sea due to starvation, that he married Magdalene Fulch in December of 1732 in Germantown, Philadelphia country, and had 10 children. Connections there. 10 children, what about that? They settled in Bethel Township, Lancaster County, and he died there in testate in 1777. From the pages of the record, John Sherk was born about 1750 in Lancaster County after suffering financially during the Revolution War. He moved to Canada with his family in 1795. He left Lancaster County, Pennsylvania on May the 11th, 1795 with an ox team and cart, which was the customary way of traveling through the timber at the time. When he neared his destination, one of the oxen died, but he continued the journey with the other one and crossed the Niagara River on a small flatboat on the 26th of July from Black Rock to Fort Erie, Ontario, Canada. On the 25th of November, Jacob Andrew was born, so they resided there till the next spring. He then moved about 10 miles west, where he purchased a heavy timber farm, now near Stevensville, Ontario. John's fourth child was Catherine Sherk, who married Peter Sherk, Casper Sherk's son's line, who had Abraham Sherk, who married Elizabeth Storm. Their sixth child, one of 13, was Eva Elizabeth Esther Sherk, my great-grandmother. These pages are some of the names when they sued, some of the names on the Norris, some of the names of the plaintiffs at the court, and stuff. And Casper Sherk is named in a number of places, so he was one of the survivors. This is a few of the different ways you spell Sherk. This is Eva Sherk, my two-time great-grandmother, married to William Franklin Harrett, lived outside of Dresden. And this is a picture of me at the conference or the reunion. I had warned the photographer she better be ready. There was going to be something going on. And this is the pictures my kids took of me before I ever went. So, is there any questions? It really makes you realize how our pioneers had such a hard time even getting here. And this was a terrible story of one ship.
So where did you find the information? Oh.
And through here, like I combined my information. These are the crews. This is a picture of me. There's a number of the pictures, but I'm in there. They took pictures of everybody that went to the reunion 2 years ago. They have them every other year, either in Pennsylvania or back up here in Ontario. But this picture was on the newspaper that weekend, and that was in 1900 in Waterloo area. That's how many attended. This book is about the reunion they had in 1914 at Vineland that my grandparents missed because great-grandpa died and my grandmother's father died. William Franklin had died. So he never, my grandpa Milton Harrett never did get to that reunion.
Janet, how many Sherks were there on that ship? Was it just one family or was it several families?
I really don't know. It's only got listed Casper Sherk. Yeah.
So the descendants.
But I think from what I've learned, there was other Sherks come at other times because they seemed to tell me that there was a number of lines. And I don't know the ones that are in Waterloo, the Sherks that I've met there through the reunion, have connections with the Birdie Townships. I just didn't. I'm going to go riding with them to the new ones, so I'm going to ask them all kinds of questions. But, they wanted to know my code number, and I didn't know it, and so they give me a number, but because a Peter Sherk from one line and a Catherine Sherk from another line, Peter and Erlix or whatever, come down. I don't know, they give me a number, but that's what I'm gonna double check when I see
Now,
them
what
again.
religion were they? The early-
Well, the Sherks were Mennonites. They were in Austria and Switzerland at the time of the referendum when Martin Luther was upheaving everything, but they were Mennonites and they were also persecuted. So they were educated and had money, and from letters from Benjamin Franklin and they were encouraged to come out to the New World. But they were Mennonites. I think my Harrett family was Quakers.
Okay.
So when they come and homesteaded out of Dresden, my grandfather grew up Baptist, my mother grew up Baptist, I'm Baptist, and I figure that's because there was no Mennonite or churches around here at the time.
But have you looked at the early listings of early settlers in the Niagara area? Were there other Sherk families in there at all, or?
Can't answer that right now. You might have to go home and do some of that.
Okay.
I got the lots and concessions and stuff where they were. Fred Harrett's son John lives at Alliston, and one day Diane, his wife, is interested in genealogy. They took a ride down and found the concession and the stuff and took pictures of tiled land, but she said I wouldn't go over and take the picture of the house because I didn't know whether that was connected, and I didn't want to. So she's got, I'm on side road this and side that, and took pictures of fields. So I've got that information.
Were you related to Don Harrett, who just died?
Yes, he was my mother's brother, the last one. Yes,
Know him well.
yes,
Baptist Church.
yes.
So it's related to, like, there's a Sherk Center in Leamington, any relation there?
Now that's what I learned at the last year's conference, and at that, there's a building, there's a street, there's everything in Sherk, and I don't know any more than that than when I was told.
You should ask Ross over there. He's related to them.
Now, Frank Sherk was the president of H.J. Heinz Company.
Yes.
Oh,
And he was a first cousin to my father.
Okay.
My father was from the Alpuna area in Mercia Township in
Oh, I'm gonna want you guys to tell me everything.
near
you
Chatham.
know.
But, you know, there was a lot of Sherks settled in Sherkston, you know, that's in the Niagara.
Yes, yes. So this was where a lot of the information I got, Sherkston, Stevensville,
Yes,
Vineland.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But I know those streets and things are named after Frank Sherk because he was. the
well, the Essex, what's her name? She was the one that told me. Now, I went to my conference last year after going to the thing, and you know, I had a ticket on thing on here. Well, I turned it over and I said, "Are you a Sherk?" And I asked over 200 people,
Yeah.
and I got 9 bites. And one of them told me about that. There's 2 of Eva's sisters married Lehams or something, brothers, and they went to Lansing, Michigan. So I don't have a lot on that either. But, yeah, there were 13 kids in that family, so.
So of the 10 original family, yours came here. Did the rest pretty much stay in Pennsylvania, or were there more lines that came
Don't
up
know.
into-
I'm hoping to learn a lot of that when I go in July.
There are a lot of Sherks around the Waterloo area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, our new president is Steve Fulton, but he's also the tech guy, and his wife Diana works for nursing homes. And she told me last year or whatever, I've had all kinds of Sherks as patients in my nursing home. And she's the one that told me that there was damage just this last year at the Sherk cemetery,
Oh,
one of the Sherk cemeteries. Yeah. But if anybody knows Ruth Burkholder, that has been she was sitting at the book table, and I was asking everybody, so I went up there and I said, "Ruth," she didn't remember me from a number of years ago. I said, "You got any Sherks in your family?" She's sitting busy here. She said, "Go back to my book on page 83 and you'll find my Sherk line on her husband." I come off the elevator. Oh, the first one, was I went on the tour on the Friday, so I come down from the elevator and into where we had to congregate to get on the bus, and I said, okay, here goes. And I said, you got shirts from your family? And the girl nearly fainted. She went all white. And she said, my husband is Trevor Sherk, but I go by Sherry Brickwall from Fernie, British Columbia. Because she sells real estate, and she's kept her name. So I put out an email to her that there's going to be a reunion in Lewisburg in Pennsylvania, and she said, I can't make that one. So I had bites galore. Anything else?
You might have mentioned this, I didn't catch it. How long has that reunion been going on?
Well, this one here is from 1982 that they been doing that. But like I said, my book here says that there was one at Vineyard in 1914. This one is 1900 in Waterloo. Shirks. Look at the pile of them, and they had to come from a long way with horse and buggy and walking and whatever.
It's a long time.
And my costume shirt, I've never done anything like that in my life when I got enough nerve to go to the conference dinner at Shrek.
That's what I mostly call Shrek. Yeah.
I'm sure. Both this one and this one have the pedigree from ancestry. And it shows Casper Sherk married Veronica Groff and had Peter, who had Abraham, who married Elizabeth Storm, that had Eva. And this one shows Johannes Sherk marrying Barbara Berg, that had Catherine, with where mine come up there.
Now, that's a German name then, is it?
Well, German, Austrian, whatever, Sherk, yeah, the heavy
Swiss.
Swiss, yeah.
Swiss is where
Yeah.
But they did speak German.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And the mispronunciation is because of the German and English people not being able to spell or do it right. Or now, the newspaper guy is from California, and he's got Sherk mother, and his name is Gary, whatever. He does the newspaper from California. He was on my floor where I stayed at Waterloo. And senior moment, forget what I was going to say. Is this taping?
Newspaper guy.
Newspaper guy.
Oh yeah, yes. His mother's name is Shirk. Sherk. But the one I registered with, his name is Ray Sherk, and he's got a 9 in his name in Pennsylvania. He's in Lancaster. But they said if it even sounds like it, you're likely connected. So Shrek counts.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, thank you very much for your presentation. That was fun. It's good to have it change up for a little bit, and we really appreciate your donation.
Okay.
So
I put this together this afternoon.
Yeah, she just
Or
threw it
this
together.
week. This is a Harrett line. This is a Harrett line, like the earliest I got on Harrett type of thing. And then this is William Harrett and Eva Sherk connection. Now that's a picture of Eva and Franklin. This is my grandfather Milton and Bertha, my mother's and dad. This is her in 1924 with the kids, and she had Ralph the next summer and died 9 days later, 8 in April. This is a picture of the family in 19 whatever when they're grown up, and they have second mother and stepsister and brother, sisters. So this one says Milton Fletcher Harrett and Bertha Olivia Ellis's first child, Winifred. So it's all her line. And it's George Frank Harrett that ended up in Hamilton, that's his line. Fred Harrett from Dresden, that's his line. Florence Harrett was my mother, that's my line. Milton Harrett, sixth kid was Donald, no, this fifth kid, Donald Harrett, who just died in May, and I have the obituary right up on him. He won an American Bravery Medal in the Second World War. He was in Africa, and a plane came down close to them, and they run out from their tents, the Canadian, he was in Air Force, and crashed, and they went running and got some of the people out, and some of them they didn't, and he has one of the very few American Bravery Medals that he wants to go to the Canadian War Museum.
He was an amazing man because he was 98 and only like 2 months before he was still driving.
Yes, he got his driver's license.
Oh my gosh.
We haven't thought he should drive for umpteen years. Him and Winifred were terrible drivers. And William was Bill Harrett from Dresden, and his daughter Karen still lives there. And then Ralph was in Corunna. And then these are the list of all the grandkids, their birthdays. So that's what I've donated today here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate everybody joining us. It's great to see lots of new faces. Hopefully you'll come back and join us again if you see something else of interest. Definitely come up to the library if you're interested in family history, and I think we'll call it a wrap, and help yourselves to snacks, and definitely visit, do some more sharing of information. That looks like that's a good connection that you've made. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. So thanks everybody.
Welcome.